Meanwhile, climate protesters crashed The View yesterday, disrupting Senator Ted Cruz mid-sentence.
Inflation has one cause and one cause only. Inflation in the United States has one cause and one cause only.
We do cover climate here, guys. We do cover climate. Ladies, excuse us. Let us do our job.
And that wasn't the only clash on the show.
There are a lot of folks in the media that try to, anytime a Republican is in front of a TV camera, try to say the election was fair and square and legitimate. You know who y'all don't do that to? You don't do it to Hillary Clinton, who stood up and said Trump stole the election.
They didn't try to kill my former
Abrams, who said that the election was stolen. They sat here and said it was illegitimate, and you guys were fine with it. Okay, so it's illegitimate when Republicans win, but not when Democrats win.
Right. You don't want to debate with Ted Cruz unless you know what you're talking about, for the most part. Senator Ted Cruz joins us now. Senator, a lot of people are saying, why would you go on The View? You want to expand your views, but do you get a chance to express them?
Well, look, I think it was valuable to have a conversation, not necessarily with the hosts, but with their viewers. There are a lot of people across the country who are only seeing one partisan side, who are not seeing any other view. And I think it is important, as conservatives, we need to be reaching out. We need to be reaching out to young people and Hispanics and African Americans, and we need to be reaching out to suburban moms. Today, I've got a brand new book that has come out, Justice Corrupted, How the Left has Weaponized the Legal System. And it describes how, under Barack Obama, the Department of Justice and the FBI and the IRS was turned into a tool, a weapon to attack their political opponents, and how under Joe Biden it's gotten even worse. And I got to say, I think for the people who watch The View, that was a perspective they hadn't heard before. There's another exchange that I had with Whoopi where she was attacking Republicans, and with sort of the obsession of the media elite. She was just, screaming about January 6th, saying, you guys are all violent. And she says, our side doesn't engage in violence. And I just had to laugh. I said, well, did you miss an entire year worth of Antifa riots all across the country where our cities were burning? And Whoopi looked at me and said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know of any Antifa riots. I mean, that really says something.
Right. It does. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Senator. So many people these days are just in a silo, and they only hear one side. So I appreciate you going in and trying to educate that other side to what's going on. But I'm kind of curious. I know at one point Ana Navarro apologized that it would happen on the show. What happened during the commercials? What did they say to you during the commercials?
Oh, look, I think they were embarrassed that there were two instances where they had protesters that began screaming and cursing and yelling, F you, F you. I mean, they were, it's not clear to me even the protesters were necessarily triggered by me. They were screaming about climate change. Mm-hmm. I laughed. I said, it's a good thing there's not a Van Gogh hanging on the wall. These guys would be throwing soup. I mean, they were kind of nuts, and I think the hosts were a little bit rattled. They said in the entire history of the show they'd never had anyone do that. It was an interesting difference between politics and the media. I think they were more rattled than I was. I'm like, look, this is politics.
You used to get yelled at.
People being knuckleheads, and it's like, I sort of laugh and keep on going. That's just part of the world we live in now. The night before, I'd been in New York City at Yankee Stadium where my Astros swept the Yankees in Game 4. I got to admit, some of the Yankees fans were, shall we say, even less friendly than the protesters. They advised that I do things that I'm pretty sure are anatomically impossible. But I tried to smile and enjoy it, and winning a baseball game and going to the World Series is not a terrible thing.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that. It's interesting when it comes to debates, or not even debates, when it comes to you on stage as candidates, you have to think about bringing security with you now, because someone could storm the stage. Live TV shows, when they have an audience, they're going to have to think about who's in their audience. All right, you mentioned your book. Tell us more about it.
So the book, it comes out today. It is called Justice Corrupted: How the Left has Weaponized the Legal System. And it walks through, it starts with Loudoun County, and you all remember Loudoun County, Virginia, where there was a 14-year-old girl who went to school, and she was violently sexually assaulted in the bathroom by a boy wearing a skirt. And after that happened, you would expect the school district to come down to prosecute the sexual predator. Instead, what they did is they transferred him to another school. They insisted it never happened. They transferred him to another school, and that predator attacked and sexually assaulted another little girl. At the school board meeting that followed that, the parents of that 14-year-old girl came in, and they were upset. They were understandably upset. And then they were infuriated because the school board was so concerned with their political ideology. They said it has never, ever, ever happened that a boy dressed as a girl has committed sexual assault. And the father in particular was yelling, said, look, my daughter was raped at your school in your care, and you're not doing a thing about it. They didn't call the police on the criminal. They called the police on the dad.
Right.
They arrested him. They threw him to the ground. They handcuffed him. And after that, as you'll recall, the National Association of School Boards sent a letter to the Biden administration saying, please target parents who go to school boards, target them as domestic terrorists under the Patriot Act. 6 days later, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, directed the FBI to target moms and dads. This book is all about the FBI going after parents, going after Americans, going after Biden's political enemies. It also tells the inside story of January 6th, what really happened. This brings you behind the curtain to let you know what's happened.
All right. It's available wherever you buy books. Today, it comes out, Justice Corrupted, How the Left Weaponized Our Legal System. Ted Cruz, sir, thank you very much.
Just one last question. Senator, when will you decide if you're going to run for president?
Oh, look, we'll see. I'm right now in the middle of a 17-state national bus tour. I'm in North Carolina right now. We're doing rallies all over the country for House candidates, Senate candidates. I think we're going to have in 2 weeks an incredible election. I think we're going to retake the House, retake the Senate, and I am leaving it all on the field because we have got to win in November if we're going to pull this country back from the brink.
All right, you have a busy next 2 weeks, book tour and trying to save this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
You bet. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.